He paid me to squat with him on my shoulder. Why? Why? Hello, my good sirs and ladybirds. Welcome to my channel. My name is Danny and I'm an addict. I spent all of my adult life and some of my teenage years under one substance or another until I finally settled on heroin, and that took me on quite a ride. I've been sober for 2 years now, but because of that whole lifestyle I used to live, I don't really know who I am, what I'm capable of, or what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So I'm on a journey of self-discovery and I'm making over my life. And if this sounds interesting to you, please give me a big thumbs up and leave a comment down below. That really helps my channel grow. And if you subscribe, hit the bell when you do so you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. So today we're going to be talking all about exotic dancing. I was a stripper. I started when I was 18 and I stopped when I was 30. So basically all of my adult life. And it was hugely influential on who I was, what I did, and on my addiction. And we're going to be talking about all of that today. My experiences working as a stripper, and I actually have one of my friends that I used to dance with on later to give her perspective on it as well. And stick around because I'm gonna tell you the weirdest, wildest, strangest customer encounters that I had. Hey guys, I just want to jump in really quickly with the clarification that's important to me. My main job was as an exercise rider of racehorses on the track. I would go months at a time, even years without stripping. There was 6 whole years where I didn't dance at all. So it was part of my life and it was influential on me, but my main occupation was as an exercise rider. Okay? All right, back to the video. So my parents are probably gonna watch this video, and I have never really been open with them about my past as a dancer. I tried to tell my dad when I was 18 and he was visibly upset. Like, visibly upset, disappointed, ashamed, just horrified that his daughter was a stripper. And ever since then, I pretended to be a bartender and they pretended to believe me. In other words, this is the first look that my parents are having at my life as a sex worker, because that is what I was. That is what strippers are. We are sex workers. We are part of the sex industry. We are selling our body for money. But we are not having sex for money. There's a huge difference. We are not prostitutes. That is not part of the job description. So how did I make my money as a dancer? Well, I'm sure you guys think that I made it by dancing on stage. That's not where I made my money. I actually would pay the DJ to keep me off the stage. I made my money by doing lap dances or table dances, depending on what state I was working in. Private one-on-one sessions in private rooms or champagne rooms, and by sitting and talking with the customer. He would pay for my drinks and pay for my time. And then I would make my money outside of the club. I was one of the girls that chose to cultivate a clientele outside of the club when I could. Those customers that you actually want to meet outside of the club are very few and far between. But the things that those guys will do outside of the club for you or for me is that they would pay my bills, they would take me out to dinner, pay me for my time when I went out to dinner with them. They would buy me stuff. For instance, I actually had 2 sugar daddies, Bill and Adrian. They bought the car that I'm currently driving around. They were paying all of my bills because I was so effed up that all my money was going to drugs. They would send me books in the mail, laptops, clothing. That's just... When you get a sugar daddy, if you're lucky enough to have one, they will make your life a lot easier. Now, there is some strippers that choose to have sexual relationships with their sugar daddies. I wasn't one of them. For the most part, being a dancer doesn't entail sexual acts, should not entail sexual acts. So we talked about sugar daddies. Let's talk about customers. Let's talk about some things that you should and should not do as customers. What you should do is you should tip your dancers when they get off the stage. There is nothing more insulting than going around, getting off stage, asking for a tip. The guy has a pile of money on the bar, and he doesn't want to give you $1. That is so insulting. And another thing is, don't be disparaging or rude to the dancer. Just be like, I'm not interested, I'm waiting for somebody else. We withstand so much cruelty at times working, selling ourselves, and constantly getting turned down. That's part of selling yourself, is that you will constantly get turned down, and it can be so hard, especially if the guy is rude about it or cruel about it. There has been times when the remarks that some men have said to me have actually made me cry. This industry is crazy enough as it is. Don't add to that, please. And here's another one. Keep your fingers to yourself. Like, we are wearing like little string bikinis, tiny little outfits. We'll be walking around trying to get our tips, and there will be that one guy that always tries to put his hands where they don't belong. Don't do that. Another thing is, women customers can be so much more aggressive than men. I don't know what it is. Maybe because they feel like they're the same sex as us, that they can take more liberties. But women customers can be so aggressive. Like, hands all over the place, mouth all over the place, teeth all over the place. Just please, if you're a girl going to the strip club, I know you're going to have a few drinks. I know you're going to be going wild. Don't try to get on the stage. Don't try to bite the strippers. Customers aren't the only factor in the strip club. We also have to deal with the other girls that we're working with. The activity can be cutthroat, but for the most part, it is a very convivial type of atmosphere, kind of like a sorority, especially in the dressing room before a shift starts. We're all applying our makeup, we're all starting to get our buzz on, we're all looking forward to the night ahead, the prospect of making hundreds and thousands of dollars. Very exciting, a lot of shouting, a lot of yelling. We're very friendly with each other. There are dancers' etiquettes and rules that we try to pay attention to and be polite about, but there is always, to a fault, at every strip club, that one girl that is just cutthroat, nasty, doesn't care, will steal your customer while you're walking back to the lap dance room. That has happened to me. But for the most part, we are very friendly and supportive towards each other. Especially when a new girl starts, we will help them out. We'll help them out with our makeup. Sometimes we'll lend them outfits. If they don't have any, we'll help show them the hustles and all of that. We are very friendly and helping towards each other. All right, I'm proud to have my friend Sam on to share her experience working as a dancer. All right, guys, I am very proud to bring my friend Samantha to the channel for a little feature in our video. She is a dancer. We've danced together in the past. So how long were you a dancer, and why did you stop?
I remember it was my 19th birthday, so I'm assuming that was 2011, and I danced all the way up until 2016. So how many years is that? 11.
5 years?
5 years. 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did you stop?
And, why did I stop? It really just, I couldn't handle it. I couldn't be sober. I wanted to be sober. And then I stopped, honestly, because I got in trouble and I went to jail and found that I was pregnant. And then after that, I just had no desire to do it anymore.
Yeah.
I've always thought about maybe I could do it if I, just maybe drank or whatever, but I couldn't
Yeah.
do it. It just,
I agree with that 100%. I tried to go back. Like, the last time I tried to go back, I just couldn't do it sober. Like, I remember I relapsed the last time I danced. So it's just like a job that you just want to drink. You just want to get into that crazy mindset when you're doing it.
Yeah, like it's a lot of work talking to men and trying to, it's customer service. It really is. Like, you got to talk to them and you have to be interested in them.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work. It's tiring. It's mentally exhausting.
Yes.
So I I just couldn't be sober and do that. So I
Yeah.
stopped.
It is so hard.
But like I always envied and like always wanted to be like one of those girls that didn't get high and could do it and make money, but it wasn't. I'm an addict. It's not there for me.
Yeah.
So.
And honestly, those girls were the exception, not the rule. Most of us dancers were getting fucked up one way or another.
Right. Right.
So this is a question that a lot of people wanted the answer to. What was your weirdest, strangest, wildest customer encounter?
Okay, so I have two. One was the beginning when I started dancing at Cheerleaders in Philly.
Where we met?
He was an Indian guy. Yes, where we met. He was an Indian guy, and he wanted me to take my dance shoes off and walk around on the dirty carpet, and then he wanted to lick my dirty feet and stuff like that. So that was there was that one, and then there was another guy who just wanted to brush my hair like a doll, like a porcelain doll.
That's a nice one.
And and then this was a really, really wild one. Okay, so in Miami or Hollandale, Scarlett's.
Yeah.
I did a champagne room.
Me and her both worked at Scarlett's. Like she worked at Scarlett's down in Hollandale Beach, and I worked there too, but we were way separate. So it's so funny that we both worked at the same strip club. But go ahead.
I know. It's like a whole little community.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, so it was some crazy event going down in the Keys. I forget the name of it, but like they dressed up in costumes, and it was like people were, what do they call that? Swingers. It was like a whole swingers event thing.
Right.
So this couple comes in. I've seen them before, and it's this big dude, big guy, and he we got the champagne room. It was $2,500, and it was with his wife, and let me tell you, I came home with bruises all over my boobs and nipples. He was smacking my tits as hard as he could.
What?
Like, and grabbing my nipples as hard as he could.
Ah!
Yeah, like, the manager had to come in and was like, "You all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're shoving hundreds in my underwear. Yes, I'm okay. I am all right." But it was crazy. Like, he just wanted me in pain.
Yeah.
Much.
Yeah.
Those were the wildest ones. There's
yeah.
one guys that wanted me to kick them as hard as I could in their balls.
I've had those. I've had those.
Crazy.
Yes. It is so bizarre. But here's another question.
Yes.
Did working in the strip club change how you thought about men?
Absolutely.
How so?
I really think I really feel like all men are liars, cheaters, and I don't know, I don't have respect for them. Like, they come to the club and then they go home to their wives, and it's just I don't know. But there's different types of men though.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the men that come to the strip clubs,
the worst. We were
turn off.
Yeah, we were, and you know what's funny is that a lot of the girls working in the strip club, they become, it's not uncommon. It's not so common, but there's girls that work as strippers and become lesbians. Like, they are lesbians. Yeah.
Yeah, they go into jail. You walk in straight, you come out by.
Yeah. Same thing with the strip club.
You're straight at the gate, and then you're coming out a dime.
Yeah. That's so funny. It was awesome to have you on. I like her video. She's out in the middle of the woods, but next time I really want to bring you on again, Samantha. I think that you have a lot to say, especially all the experiences that you've been through.
I really have a lot more that I can talk about, and I'll be in my new apartment, so I will have way better, clear connection. So
awesome.
Bring me back.
Thank you so much.
Her story is a crazy one, and I definitely want to have her back on to share parts of that. We're going to get better reception or even do a one-on-one interview. I mean, she's got so much to say. The things that she's been through and pulled herself out of It is amazing. I'm so proud of her. But she was mentioning some of the crazy experiences she had with customers. The stuff that we've been through and that we've seen, and that what guys do and ask for when they're in strip clubs, when they're under the influence, it is bizarre. I'm gonna tell you guys a couple of my favorite ones. Are you ready? We're gonna start off way back when I was working in Florida, actually at Scarlett's where she was working, and this guy was Indian, and he paid for like 5 private dances, and I went in there, I was like sitting on him, giving a lap dance, and he started like stroking my armpit, stroking it. And then he'd be like, let me smell your armpit. And then he would smell my armpit, right? And then he wanted to lick my armpit. And he did 5 dances with me, and he spent most of his time in my armpit. And then he paid me to go and put on deodorant and do more lap dances with them where he could lick the deodorant off of my armpit. Okay? Now, that's weird. It gets weirder. I was working at the Goddess in Baltimore, and this guy paid for private dances with me, like in the champagne room type. And so we went in there, and like I was sitting on him and like talking back and forth, and he started feeling my arms. Now I was riding horses at the same time, so I had some muscle, and he was like, ooh, make a muscle for me. Ooh, I like that. Like feeling my arms and like feeling my thighs, like, ooh, make a muscle, make a muscle. No lie, this guy paid me, I think it was like $200 or $300 to climb on my shoulders, and I had to squat him. I had to squat him. I was squatting with him on my shoulders. He paid me to squat with him on my shoulders. Why? And then of course there's the common one like she was talking about where they pay you to kick them in the balls or to do things to your feet. I had guys pay to buy my underwear, pay to put on my underwear. Of course, they had to buy them afterwards. Guys that wore my shoes, like just crazy stuff, dude. We would tell each other in the dressing room about it, and we would die whenever one dancer would have like a crazy client, they would run back into the dressing room, especially at the end of the shift. We're all drunk, we're all effed up some way or another, and this dancer is telling this crazy story about what this guy wants. We are rolling on the floor. So thank you guys for giving us those laughs. We do tell each other about it, and we all laugh at you. So thank you for bringing joy to us. But I do want to talk a little bit about the dangers of working in the sex industry. So not just dangers, but drawbacks as well. I'm going to start with the drawbacks is that there is no support network. We have no health care. We have no job security. We have no transportation to and from work. The only thing that the club will provide to us for our safety and well-being is most strip clubs have a house mother there. So in the dressing room, you'll have your house mother, and she'll have like knickknacks like tampons, sewing needles, glue, that kind of stuff, baby wipes, and we have to tip her out. So they provide a house mother, they provide security and the DJ, but you pay for them, so they don't really provide them. And then some clubs, they would walk you to the car. That is it. That's all you get. No health care, no dental, nothing. And a lot of clubs, if you miss like more than 2 shifts without a doctor's note, you're fired. That's it. So it's a very difficult industry to work in. I feel like that industry, the exotic dancers and strip clubs, they are well past due for an overhaul on how they treat the dancers. I really feel that. That's not dangerous, that's just a lack of care. What is dangerous is that the whole atmosphere really lends itself to alcohol and substance abuse. The last club that I worked at, one of the bouncers was selling cocaine and heroin, and that's where I would get my supply from. Like, I would go there and boom, it would be right there waiting for me. So if it's not just the bouncers, that was an extreme case. Most clubs aren't like that, but other dancers bring the drugs in. The customers will bring the drugs in. I've had customers buy drugs off of me. It's just so prevalent, so rampant in the strip club, and it really lends itself to abuse. And a lot of the dancers, that is something that we have to be careful about. When I was talking to Samantha, she was saying how, it was impossible for her to work without getting high. I was the same way. And we were more the rule than the exception. It's very rare that a dancer would do the job sober. And because of that, I think that the rate of addiction is a lot higher in strip clubs than the average industry. And they really don't provide any services for that. Like, if you're struggling with addiction or any kind of that, you just get booted from the club. They don't help you in any kind of way. Another danger of working in the strip club is the men themselves. There have been cases, very rare, of men that have followed the dancers home. I think there was a couple abductions and murders, but they're very rare. But you do have to be careful of the men, especially for a dancer like I was, where I would cultivate clients outside of the club. You have to be very picky in who you decide to meet, because if you're not, then you could put yourself in a dangerous situation with that customer. I do applaud the way that the clubs would support the dancers in that regard. If the men were exhibiting dangerous or predatory behavior, the club would take steps to bar that man from entry. They would walk the girl to the car. They would take steps to protect a girl when a man was being dangerous. I think I've covered most of what I want to in this video. It's getting rather long. I don't want to go on and on, even though I could just sit here and tell you guys story after story after story. For the most part, I really enjoyed being a stripper, and my brother actually asked me, like, weren't you ashamed? Weren't you embarrassed? Not at all. I don't regret it. I'm not embarrassed by it. I'm not ashamed by it. Nothing. I have no regrets in that regard at all. One thing I do regret, I let my addiction take everything I worked so hard for away from me. I was making $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $7,000 a week, and I have nothing to show for that. That is what I regret. So that's it, guys. You've made it to the end of another video with me. I really appreciate you sticking around and watching this. I could have gone in so many different directions with this video, and I have so much more that I'd actually like to say on this subject. So you might be seeing a part 2 or even 3 about working in the stripping industry. Until then, please give me a big thumbs up and leave a comment down below telling me what you think about this video, about all of it. I mean, there's some things I definitely would like to hear what you think about. And subscribe. When you do, hit that bell so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. And until then, thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you later.